That is an unbelievable capture, and that is not the only one.
Mediums sensing a young presence.
It's a dog! There is a dog barking on the recordings.
I have been on probably 100 podcasts where the first thing I say is Balgonie Castle is my favorite. Is there anything in the castle that we should be afraid of?
In the rolling fields of Fife, Scotland, stands Balgonie Castle, a place where medieval walls whisper centuries of stories. For nearly a decade, we've had the privilege of investigating its mysteries. We've encountered fleeting figures, disembodied voices, and evidence that challenges everything we know about life and death. Tonight we'll reveal our latest findings, from a curious child spirit and a cryptic monk named David, to the castle's ancient lairs reaching across time. Prepare to step into the unexplained. Balgonie Castle traces its lineage to the 13th century, once home to the Sibbald family. A fortified tower was raised around 1360, making it among Fife's oldest surviving strongholds. Over the centuries, the castle passed into the hands of notable clans, the Lundys, the Boswells, and perhaps most famously, General Sir Alexander Leslie, Covenanter and Swedish Field Marshal, who refortified its walls. Modern times saw Balgonie fall into ruin, only to be resurrected in the late 20th century by dedicated owners, including the much-loved Laird Raymond Morris, and now his son Stuart. Among historians, Balgonie is celebrated for its architectural evolution. Among investigators, it's notorious for something else altogether, an abundance of paranormal activity. Reports of ghosts in Balgonie stretch back to the 19th century. A green lady drifting behind high windows, a headless soldier haunting the courtyard, and an unseen presence in the chapel. Our goal: capture credible evidence. Over the past 9 years, we've conducted countless sessions, sometimes with special guests like Hollywood ghost hunter Rick McCallum, who calls Balgonie his favourite location in the world. But what did we all experience that keeps us coming back? We begin with a moment that shook us all. During one of our overnight sessions, Rick McCallum asked a straightforward question. Is there anything we should be afraid of in the castle? This was the response.
Is there anything in the castle that we should be afraid of? The energy. Well, that was really interesting because I've used the Frank's box before and had never gotten a response like this. While we were there, I just asked a simple question. Is there anything in the castle we need to be afraid of? And we listened, and maybe 3-4 seconds later it goes, the energy. Is there anything in the castle that we should be afraid of?
The energy.
In the ruin, we asked a simple question. Who's here? And received not one but two stunning responses. The bell and I'm Leslie. A direct reference, we believe, to Sir Alexander Leslie, who once owned these very walls. Was the spirit of a former laird reminding us of his presence? Or perhaps cautioning us about the giant bell outside?
The bell. That's please.
This next moment was personal for me. While in the Laird's Hall, I expressed our respect. We come in total respect. Almost instantly, we captured a voice as if saying, "Bless you, we do it back."
We're here in total respect.
Thank you.
in full respect.
Hearing such a kind, almost reciprocal gesture took me aback. In that instant, I felt we were communicating with something profoundly aware and benevolent.
It was built by one of the most powerful families in Scotland, King's Treasurer. So a great amount of wealth went into the construction of the castle. It's where important meetings were held over the centuries as well, with powerful people within the country. So we don't really know what secrets this castle holds. There's certainly been discussions held here that shaped Scotland as it is today.
The Sibbald family were the earliest known proprietors here. So when our devices uttered Sibbald, followed by the first name John, it sent chills through us. Historically, there is indeed a Sir John Sibbald in the genealogical records. Could his spirit still roam the castle he helped shape centuries ago?
Sibbald. I heard that.
Very good. I heard that.
Okay, so Sibbald, that is high relevance for the castle gift family.
Yes.
Very strong family.
Very.
So who's the Sibbald we have with us? John? Is there a John Sibbald, Kelly?
Yes, there is.
Sir John Sibbald owned Balgonie Castle before his passing in 1451 at the age of 51. Could we have just had direct communication from this Laird of Balgonie? Inside this very room, we set up a camcorder, only to discover it clicking on its own, later traced to the battery inlet door being popped. We had no logical explanation. Some believe it was a curious child spirit, drawn to the camera's lights and moving parts. This same location has a history of childlike encounters, toys lighting up on our trigger objects, mediums sensing a young presence. Coincidence or a playful ghost? Then, in quick succession, unmistakable footsteps echoed near our audio device, followed by our motion-activated music box. We hear a name, David. We suspect this might be the spirit of a monk believed to reside in the chapel, someone rumoured to look harshly on modern ghost hunting techniques. Could he be patrolling each session, viewing us as intruders? Or worse, witches? If David was indeed a devout figure from centuries past, the idea of us conjuring the dead might be deeply offensive to him.
Okay, so we're just doing some analysis on last night Balgonie Castle. This is a EVP from the Sony recorder that we were using. What has basically happened is we've caught what sounds like footsteps coming towards the recorder, the name, which we all know, David from Balgonie Castle, and then the music box, which was over at the door, just a small amount of distance away from the recorder area, goes off at the time. Everyone will remember it who was there. I'm going to play it and let you hear it. That is an unbelievable capture, and that is not the only one.
In the bottom floor of the tower, John and Tracy methodically placed a DVR camera and multiple environmental monitors. Everything was secured, no loose wires, no precarious setups. Yet soon after they left the room, the K2 meter mysteriously flew off the bed, crashing onto the stone floor. Our footage captured the entire event on DVR, and if you listen carefully, just moments before the device falls, there's a faint, unidentifiable sound, likely a Class C EVP. is too subtle to present here, but it raises a compelling question. Was a curious presence reaching out to us through our equipment? But that's not all. Our latest investigation, conducted only days ago, has yielded even more intriguing discoveries. While much of this new data remains under careful analysis, we want to share a glimpse of the most compelling highlights gathered so far. Join us as we dig deeper into the hidden corridors and haunting history of Balgonie Castle, piecing together evidence that grows more mysterious with every visit. Our search is far from over, and the castle, it seems, is far from finished with us.
When we first came up and opened the door, I did feel immediately that there was a lady's presence. And when I turned to look to my right, which was then across in this corner, I felt that she was sitting at the table. I didn't physically see her, but I just felt the female energy. But what I did see was she was sewing something, and it was a square bit, and I just had the image of her sewing. So I don't know if it was like a bit of tapestry or cross stitch, but I felt she was sewing, and she was intent on doing that.
Came in and you'd started the live, so I tried a little experiment. So I went into the chapel and I thought I'll try some of the things that we've had before.
Yeah.
So I was asking about the energy, and I'm asking about if we've got their blessing, but I was asking them to come here and communicate with you.
Stop there.
I heard that.
You hear that? That was a
I heard
child.
that.
That was a
Yeah,
child.
I definitely heard that.
Or a female or a child, but mere childlike.
Yeah. It sounded like you said.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. There.
Yeah, that's good.
They're getting a Lucy. So is there a Lucy here? Actually, before I start, is anybody picking up anything at all spiritually at this point? Since you've come in here. What's that? You can smell a wet dog. Right, okay, so that's quite interesting. Anybody else getting anything at this point? What's that?
A dog told me outside that there was a dog there, but I could sense it.
You could sense there was a dog there, right, that's interesting. I'm not sure. Could you try your one, John? Could you rewind that back and just go? So we're aware of the clock. You've got the clock, but listen to the rhythm of the clock, and then don't listen to anything beyond that. That's not the clock. Is that a dog barking? That's a dog. That's a dog. It's a dog! There is a dog barking on the recordings.
After nearly 10 years of research and countless overnight vigils, one truth remains: Balgonie Castle is anything but quiet. Whether you believe these voices are residual energies, conscious spirits, or something we can't yet name, the evidence speaks volumes. Critics might say we're over-interpreting random noises, yet they can't deny the frequency, the context, the historical names. We've tested our methods, we understand pareidolia, confirmation bias, but time after time Balgonie challenges even the most sceptical investigator, and so we continue our journey, humbled by each new discovery, each fleeting voice from beyond.